Hello, everyone. A warm welcome to the Regenesis Talks. Today, we are joined by Mr. Thomas Wells, founder of the Regenesis Systems. Today's LinkedIn live event, we are going to talk about how to regenerate yourself as manager, executive, director in 2024. The Regenesis program for 2024 was announced last week. The week's video provides more detail how to secure your place on this unprecedented program. Here's Thomas Wells now with details. Hello, Thomas.
Hello and welcome. If you're a manager, executive, director, or a head of an organization, an owner, a founder, a CEO, a COO, or any of the senior roles, the HR director, the finance director, the chief learning officer, or any of the roles that shapes and encourages the development and growth of the organization, this is a really important broadcast for you to hear. What I want to talk to you about today is something we've discovered and used for many years, but now today for the first time, we're publicizing it openly. It's the exact process we use to 2 to 4x managers' salary, output and value, while, in consequence, while adding 20% plus to that organization's bottom lines, usually in 180 days or less, using managers, executives and directors themselves, and not paid for consultancy. How this all came about? Well, we need to go back a while. My background is as a professional facilitator and in commercial consultancy. I've worked with many organizations. These are just a sample of the variety and types of organizations I've worked with and my team have worked with over the years. And how it all started was 37 years ago. There was just some quirks of fate that led me to happen to be in the right place at the right time to open up some huge questions around what is management, what makes it effective, and how can you simplify it and speed it up so that it delivers much more effectively. If you and I, or when you and I get to know one another, I'll tell you more about the story behind all of that. But suffice to say, I was in an organisation that was £640 million per annum overspent, and within 3 years had transformed itself into a multi-billion pound multinational blue chip organisation. And to be honest, from that early transformation work, it's never looked back. And as soon as I saw the process that we used and how well it worked, I knew that I had my hands on pure gold. So that was the start of the journey that led me to work with more than 8,000 managers, executives and directors and boards and top teams and all sorts of varieties of organisation in every walk of life, in every kind of from not-for-profits through to large commercial, manufacturing, retail, health, government, just every type of organisation, even finance sector and insurance industries. I've spent time in them all. And what's been amazing for me is to see either parts of the process that we now know as the system of Regenesis, or whole chunks, or even the whole system being used again and again and again, and always delivering because of the way it is constructed and the way it is derived from listening to all these managers, executives and directors and what worked fundamentally. And during that time, during the growth of the system of Regenesis, we've also won 14 national and international awards with and for our clients along the way, with various mixes of components from the system itself. What I'm going to cover and give away today for free is firstly, it's a world first, an expose of our system to consistently 2 to 4x the salary, output and value of each of your managers, executive directors, and in so doing, add 20% plus to organizations' bottom lines. I'm going to give away how to simplify and optimize your management process with a focus on key areas. I'm going to show you the month-by-month focus with our master maps, as we call them, and how to copy and paste our annual cycle, the sequence of areas of focus to convert what may be plateaued results in your organization into much more of a sustainable conveyor belt of cumulative expansion and improvement year on year. I'd like to show you how to create your innovation process to pre-qualify ideas, solutions and opportunities to shorten the results delivery cycle. It's really easy. The top organizations, if you're one of the top 2%, it's possible you already have something like this. But the vast majority of organizations I work with actually don't have this in place. I'd like to show you how to build a high-performing, self-supporting generative management team and how to measure your multi-dimensional ROI to optimize the value that you create, and so much more. And more free stuff, I suppose, everything from the past slide. I'd like to give you a free trial of your 15 to 25 year life and work design kit. It's probably the piece of work I've done with more individuals than anything else. I'd like to give you access to our expected and actual ROI measurement process. I'd like to show you our massive influence navigator cheat sheet. I'd like to show you our elite team building swipe file and our manager as change agent self-assessment. What we've uncovered is there are a number of core capabilities that you can quickly check for. And if you're missing any of these, then it will undoubtedly impair your ability to do the job quickly, easily, and of course effectively, delivering great bottom line results. And above all, what's open today is an opportunity to work with me and my team at a price point we've never offered to anyone. More than that, we've never even dreamt of offering it at this price point. But we can see now that we need to increase the numbers of people that have access to this material. And this is our way of doing that. And I would like you to stay and see what's on offer, because there's absolutely no reason, whether you're an individual, small or medium-sized organization, or whether you're a manager leading a team or a bigger organization or even a large commercial, why you shouldn't avail yourself of this opportunity. But obviously we can't serve everyone. So we're going to start with the people we think are most enthused, the early adopters, if you like, that are ready to unlock their potential. Hi, my name is Thomas Welsh. My soul life mission, that's not a typo there, that's exactly what I mean. My soul life mission is to share this Regenesis system with managers, executives, and directors throughout the world, because now I want to share and show you exactly how we do exactly what we said at the start, 2 to 4x managers' salary, output, and value, whilst adding 20% plus, and often it's a lot more than 20%, to organizations' bottom lines without paid consultancy. So who is this for? Well, the Regenesis use cases so far, certainly managers, executives, team leaders, supervisors, any variation of the word manager you'd like to think of. But also top of the shop folks and top team folks, board personnel, CEOs, COOs, HRDs, FDs, commercial heads, the directors of the board, the chairs. In startups and small businesses, this can be vital to their long-term survival. What we know is 90% fail before they actually reach the growth that they've assumed that they will have, and they usually fail just as they grow because there are gaps in their management functioning. Also, the same is true of bigger organizations and businesses and MSMEs and public services. They all have gaps that are hidden. They don't realize the gaps are there, and they don't realize how valuable it is to fix them and how much rapid difference it can make. And healthcare providers, not-for-profits and charities as well. And really, what we've done is we've reduced the functionality of management to its fractal components. In other words, it can't be reduced any further. If you want a healthy organization built from a hologram of healthy components, this is how to do it. It's really quick, it's really effective, and doesn't detract from the main themes of work you've got running in your organization. All we ask you to do is to each month have a synchronized, across management focus on a particular key area. It's backed up by the research in universities and with the research houses as well. The big consultancies have all done research on doing certain key things at regular intervals. Once a year is the recommendation, and that on its own makes a massive, massive difference. And the system of Regenesis is all about putting that all together and doing it in a sequence and a cycle every year. So those hidden gaps in management rapidly get uncovered. They're hidden gaps that are draining employees and moving the expansion needle really slowly. The fullness of management that the system of Regenesis creates changes behaviors. That's the principal thing it does. It just changes behaviors in the focus. And the annual cycle supports improved results at scale. And it can be at scale because everybody's mind is in the same area at the same time. And it massively improves how much can be done. So why install your system of Regenesis? Well, as we've said, you can 2 to 4x your value as a manager, executive, and director. So it doesn't matter whether you're an individual manager. This is good for you. It's good for your career. It's good for your salary. It's good for your reputation. You name it. It really helps. It could be you're one of the top 2% already, and there's nothing hidden from you. There's no gaps in your practice, but it's very, very unlikely. In fact, it's probably 98% unlikely. You can add also, as you begin to deal with these gaps, you can add very easily, you can add 20% plus to your organizations or teams or departments or whatever your function is to its bottom lines. You can start with in as little as 5 to 7 days. when you do it right. And our job, if we help you, is to help you do it right, of course. And you can build your annual cycle for focused attention and action so easily. And I'm going to be showing you that shortly. And you can synchronize manager, executive, and director action for better results. In other words, across your organization, if you take on Regenesis as your system or as a system, you can synchronize management behavior perhaps for the first time in your organization's entire history. You can open the potential of your own managers, execs, and directors to unlock resources and increase results. And without the need for expensive external systems or paid consultancy. There's massive undeveloped resources in virtually every organization you go to. And what's more, any gains that you get can be duplicated over and over again simply by taking them right through your management body and activating the whole thing in an entrained and synchronized way. There's three main phases. It's really simple. There's an alignment phase, which essentially is about the alignment of people. There's a flow, which is effectively maximizing the flow from your fundamental core processes. And then once you have got those in place, you're then able to take the expansion phase. You can do them in any order. You can start anywhere in any of these three cycles. As long as you do the three of them, the product of the whole is much greater than the sum of the parts. So here's your annual cycle. You can join this at any time, you can join at any point, and all you do is you begin to collect together the necessary phases and components for a successful cycle of individual focuses as you move through the entire. The red boxes are all about the alignment phase, the alignment of people. The purple boxes towards the bottom are all about maximizing your flow and looking at the process issues around your core processes, how money supports activity, how people are working together, the processes for that, and how, in particular, how communication and words and action are synchronized to deliver the outputs required. And then finally, there's the growth phase, which is making sure you're ready to grow, looking at your human capital requirements of the future and creating them now so you're ready. And then finally looking to see that the fractals of your organization are working towards the long term. So a 50-year vision is countenanced as you look at whether the holographic, the fractal components add up to the hologram you see of the emerging organization and its contribution to the world. And then finally, you make sure that you grow in a way that's consistent with your inception. And obviously you can grow organically from within, which is usually almost always the best, or you can grow structurally from without through investment or mergers or acquisitions and so on. So there's the big cycle. Every month, if you work with us, in week 2, we'll give you a teach-in. We'll show you a new area of focus, something new to think about, and show you the fundamental components that make it work well. Obviously, there's no right answer that you can give from outside, and what we look to you to do is to adopt and adapt these key areas of focus and the fundamental components so that they work in your situation, and if you're an individual, in your personal way. How would you do this? And we have to look at that. We give you a week to think about it, and then in week 3, we come back with another session, which is a coach-in. And this is where we help you think through and get ready for taking action for delivering the results. So that's part of it. And then every weekday, more than that, we realize that you might have a question or need a bit of support. So every day, there's live Q&A support session. On Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, it's like a general consulting where any question can be asked. And on Tuesday and Thursday, it's more geared towards tools and techniques for results and the kind of things that can speed up your action or make things very much easier. And you've also got access 24/7 to an online learning system. So if you need to go back to the teaching, there it is, and you can access the recording, and you can also access colleagues. We are very firm believers in managers helping managers, and particularly, if you can get colleagues in non-competing organizations, often their different worldview shows your world in much sharper relief, and you can see how to do things in new ways with new possibilities and new outcomes that are much better for your organization. So all this is about is elevating your career and at least doubling your impact, double your worth. Regenesis unlocks a path where managers, execs, and directors consistently think about doubling their value, doubling their salary, doubling their output. Leading with harmony, breaking free from an aimlessness that can creep in, and I'm sure is behind things like the Great Resignation. Learning to lead not just with skillful emotional intelligence skills, but actually learning to lead with a greater degree of harmony and seeing how there's some rational components that can be put together to motivate yourself and your team to achieve unprecedented success. Become a financial hero. Sometimes we see managers get disenfranchised from the almost the financial process. They may or may not contribute to the preparation of budgets. And they can so easily shift their attention to income creation and becoming a financial hero and advancing their career and salary whilst contributing to organizational growth. Streamlined excellence, reimagining work a bit, streamlining processes and propelling yourself towards better results and recognition and a happier working environment. It's so easily done, especially when done collaboratively. And of course, that's next. Collaborate for success. Initiate collaborative powerhouses. Save time, lifting personal value and boosting organizational performance. So easy to do when you know how, when you know the simple components that it's made up of. Communicating for triumph. Obviously, communication is a crucial tool. And if you align words with the intended outcomes, it makes life so much easier. And I guess your center weights. That tapestry of organizational excellence can only really lead to greater freedom and you becoming much more of all you're capable of being personally and professionally. And choosing growth as a direction of travel. Decide when and how to expand. Be looking for it always, growing your worth alongside the organization's success. All these things are available to us all the time. If you like, here's a little example of your results creating math. This is an example of a kind of small to medium-sized organization with, say, 10 managers, execs, and directors. The same basic formula, the same basic structure of the math works for you as a one-person manager or exec or a director, or whether you're a much larger corporate with many, many more managers, maybe hundreds or even thousands. But let's take this simple example of the math. If you've got 10 managers, execs and directors, say with an average salary of 100,000 a year, just to make the maths easy, your total human management capital value is $1 million. 10 times 100,000 is $1 million. And now let's also assume that the human capital value of the staff all of these 10 managers have is another $1 million. So let's keep the math simple and say that the total human capital value of this particular little team or organization is $2 million. So now that's just the payroll. So let's say all the other costs of doing the service or the production or whatever it is that the organization does, let's say the gearing is 10 times greater. In other words, the turnover to human capital value ratio is times 10. So that gives us a turnover of about $20 million. Now, there's 12 areas of focus, as we've seen, the master maps. Let's just take the idea of the expected ROI of 20% plus. So that would, in 20 million, that would be, sorry, in 2 million, that would be 400,000. And if we take account of the gearing times 10, we would expect the actual results by the time the managers have applied their improvement, tested, thought through ideas to the actual organizational machine. You'd expect it to show up ultimately, if they do it really well, with at least 4 million in bottom line results. And that's roughly how the math works. So if you're an individual, you could work that out for your own department or team, approximately how that works. And if you're a bigger organization, and what I know is often the results are much, much higher. We say 20% plus. We've seen tens or even hundreds of percent improvement to bottom lines in some areas of organizations. So that is just a basic, and it's also backed up by a lot of work that's been done in research houses and universities where their own research has led to these kind of findings. It's when you focus on a particular area at regular intervals, particularly if you do it every year, because every year you're going through a financial cycle of investment and delivery of results. And getting that right is obviously the route to growth and improvement. And even if you're a not-for-profit or a government body or a public service organization, these numbers still work. And what's ailing organizations all over the world is these gaps. They're invisible because they don't shout. And if you've got a bit missing, you won't necessarily know. And if you've never had it, and often organizations have never had some components, you won't even know it could be missing. So there's quite a few things to think about there. Now, you can go sprint with this yourself and absolutely crush it with all the information we've given you up to this point. But if you want to have my team and I install everything for you and start scaling this with you, it could be done in as little as 5 to 7 days. And here's exactly how we do that. It's very simple startup. We built a legendary system and a kind of legendary install and support process. That is it just works phenomenally well. Keep it simple. KISS is the acronym, isn't it? For over 3 decades, we've worked with over 8,000 active managers, execs, and directors in our install and scale process. So we do know this really well. We've not made any changes to the master maps now for years. Nothing substantial. There's little details as technology shifts and a few other things, but nothing substantial has changed. So we're really confident in this process. And here's exactly how we do it. Number one, we before we get started, we identify or help you identify the business case for action. When we work face-to-face, this typically would cost about $12,000, about $12,000 to help you calculate the expected ROI and really make sure there was a permission for and commitment to the change that was possible. It's amazing how many organizations are actually a little bit resistant to making any change that would, that obviously gets in the way of an improvement of results. So we just make sure that that commitment is genuinely there. Then there's a second stage, which is about agreeing the vision and the pace for change. And typically this work might include something like a top team workshop where there's a new vision and mission, new mission, vision, values, vital few is my shorthand. And we help the organization choose the number of managers in their organization they want to start with and to identify somebody at top team or board level as the lead executive, somebody that can be there for those lead managers to speak with and take guidance from. And then it's about moving forward with the first chunk of action, getting those managers properly mobilized with maybe a number of colleagues and starting the action and onboarding those managers properly into the system of Regenesis and getting that action rolling. And typically, to move that forward, typically that's around about 60K. And then finally, once the organization has proven to itself that it can do this, because it's always the managers, the execs and the directors that do this, it's like it unlocks a door, a secret door in their ability to do things. Then the only thing left to do is to accelerate and put it right across the organization, increasing the number of managers. But we don't do that anymore. Your leads, your champions, if you like, who started the process off, they do the internal coaching because they know how it goes. It's very simple. Once you have done it, you know it. So you can then share it with others. It's as simple as that. And then you embed the annual cycle, your annual cycle, for that sustainable expansion. And to keep taking your organization up through the layers until it has become all it can sensibly is capable of being. And I say sensibly because sometimes organizations try to grow outside of their inception and then they inadvertently break themselves. And there are some examples about this which we could talk about if you're interested in that. Typically, for our one-to-one Regenesis online nowadays, because what we realized when we were here is it was time-consuming. We had to travel a huge amount from client to client, and we were really frustrated that we had to turn a lot of people down and turn a lot of people. We just could not physically get there, even with a medium-sized consultancy team, even leaning on colleagues, we still couldn't get there, not in the way that we wanted. But taking it online has enabled us to now work internationally and support many, many organizations. And what's more, a number of organizations and a number of really great managers are actually taking up the role of torchbearer for this and actually showing other people, working with us and showing other people. So we're building a network here. And right now we're opening the doors in a way we've never done before to this process to allow many people in. And we see this coming year as the year of growth of people traveling with this particular tool. For our basic online product, we charge £12,000 for the year. But today, and again, it's all in the spirit of actually opening the doors to more people, we are giving you guys who are looking at this video or listening to this video cast an unprecedented 50% off. So you can join our one-to-one organizational coaching program for a whole year for just $6,000. And more than that, again, we're wanting to really open these doors. If you pay in full, it's only $4,800. So you get an additional $1,200 off. And you also get a free seat in our community for a team member. If that's more than you want to invest right now, for sure, we really understand. These have been very tough times. There's a lot going on in the world at the moment. So if you want to try before you buy, or whether you just want to invest a lower amount, if you're a solo manager and you just want access to this because you believe that there's much more you can do, you can achieve, you can have in your world, then you can have a total of 95% off. So for everyone on today's call and who watches the video for as long as it stays up, and of course it won't be up for very long, you can join our group coaching programs. This isn't one-to-one, this is group coaching program for a whole year, and you'll get access to the exact same material, the same tools, the same briefing, but for just £600 for the whole year. And if you pay in full, and again, we're trying to open the doors really rapidly to get that expansion so that we've got more people able to show others, it's only $250 for now. So you get an additional $450 off if you just follow the links at the end of this video and are securing your place. This is not going to be there for long. And once it's full because the program will be full for the year. And you still get that free seat in our community for a team member. So those are incredibly valuable assets for any manager, for any organization. And more than that, if you want access subsequently to the one-to-one program, then you can still get the protected price, as it says at the bottom of this page. So in summary, this has gone from being 170k per annum for an organization, and we had to turn a lot of people away. It was very disappointing for everyone, including us. So we took it online, and now typically that's just $12,000 per person. For today, as I said, there's a 50% discount. And if you pay in full today, if you just click through the links at the end of this video and find your way to sign on, you can get that one-to-one coaching program discounted to $4,800, unprecedented. And what I did for you guys in 2024, because I really want this growth to take place, is to let a lot more people get going. And this new group coaching program that we started with at 600, and if you pay in full today, it's just 250, then that obviously is a real door opener for virtually everybody that we've worked with in the past couple of years. And remember, if you decide once you're in, particularly if you're an organization owner or a manager of a team or a department or a function, and you want to shift from being in a group program to being in a one-to-one, where obviously the advice is much more closely tailored to you personally and your situation, then you can get that upgrade for that price because you're already in this advantageous program. As far as I can tell, this is going to be a one-off. We probably won't do it again because we won't need expansion in this way. We anticipate a lot of growth coming through this route in particular. So embark on your Regenesis journey. Watch the video on the link at the end. The video is called Your Next 12 Months in 12 Minutes. And remember, your potential as an organization and your potential as a manager, exec, and director knows no bounds. Whether you're a seasoned executive or an aspiring leader, Regenesis is your catalyst to unprecedented achievement and, of course, contribution to the world. So let's get you started. Click the link below this video to view your next 12 months in these 12 minutes. There's a space there you can sign up as well. And if you're still unsure, there's even a space for you to make an appointment, a short appointment for a quick discussion with me, just to cover off any last uncertainties before you finally click. But don't wait too long. As I say, I don't think this is going to stay open beyond January. So if you want in, I would suggest you do it earlier rather than later. We're anticipating very rapid uptake here. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you on the other side.
Thanks, Thomas. Vijay? Vijay, are there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Thomas, for the great offer and great insights. It's absolutely a great program to elevate ourselves in next year. Thank you so much. Thank you, Prem.
Thank you, Vijay. Thank you, Thomas. It's been a pleasure being on this show. Thank you for the offer, Thomas. Looking forward for the team to share your inputs, and if you want to register, you can put your comment, put a note on the comments. We'll connect with you and we'll see how to take it forward. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.